are tuned to Kennett Cablevision. Thank you for watching. It's time for talk. Each evening at this time, Monday through Friday, Rosemary interviews local personalities and others who bring items of interest to this community. Time for Talk is a community betterment service designed to cooperate with our local community betterment program. Tonight, Rosemary takes us by means of portable camera out of our studios and maybe into your neighborhood. And now, it's time for Talk.
There's a great deal of activity going on in the basement of the Dunklin County Courthouse. The activity really initiated in the Secretary of State's Roy Blunt's office for Missouri in the Division of Records and Archives out of Jefferson City. These two ladies are doing a mountain of work, and I mean when I say mountain, if you could see the pile of books and papers and maps that we just looked in on. Hopefully tonight we can show you a bit of what they are accomplishing in the area. The ladies are Joan Feazor, who is the local records analyst. Did I say your name correctly?
It's Feazor.
Feazor, okay, Feazor. And we also have Georgia Sailors. And you all, do you go all over the state doing this?
No, I have 23 counties in the Boot Hill, in the southeast part of the state that I take care of.
Okay, and I'm curious to know, how did you get into this work?
I graduated in the spring of 1987 from SEMO with a degree in historic preservation. And one of my professors is on the state task force dealing with local records, and he suggested the job to me, and I applied for it and got it.
Now see, I've already learned something today. I had no idea there was a degree in historic preservation.
Yes.
There is a degree, and I'm telling you, there's some things in here that are really preserved that nobody even knew were here.
That's true.
They have been here. And do you run into that all over this county?
Yes.
And all over the state, really, and all the counties you do. In fact, we're one of the newer counties down here in this Boot Hill area. We were settled last because I think we were so low and swampy. And incidentally, as we bring that up, there are some dandy maps that she has found, and we're going to look at a few of them. And she's promised to take us back into the vault and give us a tour of what she has in store for her. Nobody really knows what's in there at this point, do they?
No, I haven't made a complete inventory yet, so I have no idea what is in the storage. There are county court minute books, the old tax books. There are some sheriff's records, circuit court, magistrate court records.
Now, may any of these be put on microfilm, or will they be preserved in the form you are taking them out now?
It's my understanding that the circuit court records will be microfilmed.
Okay, all right, but the rest will be put in boxes, catalogs, so people will know what's in there. Joan has just remarked that every map we've picked up practically has been a map for a different railroad, and I don't think that many railroads came into Kennett. For instance, this map right here is a profile map, it says, of the Kennett and Osceola Railroad, and you've been finding railroad maps all over. There is a letter attached to this that says they plan to... We, Edward F. Blumeyer, President, and James F. Brooks, Chief Engineer for the Kennett Osceola Railroad Company, organized the purpose of constructing a line of standard gauge railway from the city of Kennett to the state line in Dunklin County, Missouri. And we certify that the annex sheet contains a profile map. Shows the actual survey and location and number of miles and the scale of miles. And this is dated May 5th. 1897. Now, it'd be interesting to know, somebody who knew about what railroads did come in here, how many of them actually did more than give a profile map. But you're running into a lot of records like this that nobody really know are back here.
That's right. You're getting more and more people who want to do research. So the records will be organized so that they can do it.
Okay.
You can come into a courthouse and do it easily.
All right, I'm curious about the big books that were right here over this box of old. Now, the box of maps that we pulled out, here was the filing system for the county right here. Are you able to see this? Are you able to see this filing system for the county? Filed in 1929. Now, see, I would love to go through those maps and pull out the drainage records and whatnot. We hope to do that.
This is a file that contains records for the drainage district number 30.
And it is crammed full. Let me, okay. Okay, I've got it. And what do you have? You haven't really gone through any of these?
No, I haven't. But these were just this particular instrument happens to be the oath of the viewers and the engineer. And all of these records are permanent. And
Joan, thank you for bringing us back in here and allowing us to see what you have here in the vault.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it. Your work's cut out for you every Thursday from now on. How long will it take you to do this job?
I really don't know. I've been in one county for a year. My job is only part-time, and I work one day in one county, and the next day I go to another county.
So you probably will be here on Thursdays for at least a year.
Yes.
And looking at all of these books, it may be a whole lot longer than a year. Yeah, you will go through every one of these items.
Yes.
She will know Dunklin County inside and out and what it has been like for the ever since it was made into a county when, in 1843, I believe it was surveyed or something like that. Anyway, thank you very much for allowing us to come in and look.
You're welcome.
Well, we had fun that day of the vault at the courthouse. It was dirty and dusty, but we had fun. But I'll tell you what's been even better. We were able to bring these maps and to make pictures of these maps, to go through the old maps and hopefully to show you what was stored in some of these maps, some information that has been incredible to learn. Of course, there were some 20 to 25 maps that are thrown in the box that have since been cataloged and are going to have to be repaired, and some of them even laminated, according to Charles Isbell. But for the most part, these are records of the drainage districts, and they date from 1929 to 1904, 1928. Most of the drainage districts records, and for instance, this is a profile of the St. Louis St. Francis River levee, drainage district number 2, and it's dated 1904. You're probably not able to get that date on there, 1904. When you open it up, there's not a great deal of information that is to be gained by you and me, because what we see is a straight line here showing the grade line, and then I suppose the line of the topography of the land, really. So a lot of these drainage maps are not really all that informative as far as we are concerned in learning something. There were, other than the drainage maps, there was a blueprint of the county jail. Courthouse, it was sent to the courthouse in 1892, and of course these are extremely fragile. But it was a picture of the plans of the county jail, and this is all aspects of county jail plans. Now, we're talking about the county jail that was torn down some, 10 years ago. I think it was perhaps torn down when Raymond Scott was sheriff. I'm not quite sure of that, but these are old jail plans, and every room in the jail and how it was made are cataloged in this. Interesting to people who might have been inside. Now, there was a Penobscot County map, and as we said, these are all very fragile. This was a commercial venture, and you will see all sorts of advertisements on each side. What we're doing with the Penobscot map here in Dunklin County, they just must have printed a lot of them and passed them out to us. Hopefully you're going to be able to see, are you able to see up here where it says Clay Root and Owl City? The railroad went through Clay Root and Owl City, and this has been one of the few maps where we have seen Bragg City with its two previous names. Clay Root was fairly common. People know that Bragg City used to be Clay Root. But before it was Clay Root, it was Owl City. Another interesting thing on this map, if you will look, Over here in Pemiscot County, we still are, the town of Gayoso. Now, Gayoso was the first county seat. The river just came right in and inundated, flowed over Gayoso, the Mississippi did. They had to move the county seat to Caruthersville. And they tell me you can still walk out there when the water's low and see the foundations of the buildings of Gayoso. Here was, of course, the Cooter-Pemiscot Steel area, and you have Pemiscot Bayou all out in here that drained all of Pemiscot County, Pemiscot Bayou. This was interesting from the standpoint of what it used to be like seeing the towns and so forth. Another interesting thing we got out of here, and hopefully we're going to be able to do some historic things. We want to do 5 this year that will give us the history of Dunklin County. We want to do one on the early roads. We want to do one on the early railroads, on lumbering, on agriculture. Hopefully we can get those done this year, and these maps evidently would be a great deal of help to us if we can get them to hold together long enough to do anything. Now, one of the interesting things to us, and we intend to do something with this, was the railroad maps. And there were evidently a lot of railroads proposed. Now, I don't know what there was to doing a proposal, but you submitted your findings to the county court. There are a lot of railroads that have submitted these and have procured the right-of-way, evidently, that never really made it. Here was one that was filed in 1881. It's called the St. Louis, Arkansas and Texas Terminal through Dunklin County, filed in 1881. They have all of their proposals. It was going through Malden, and you see the plat of Malden here, how their railroad was going to go through. Then there was a St. Louis, Texas profile of the Texas and St. Louis Railroad. Here's a profile of the Malden branch of the St. Louis and Gulf Railroads. There was a Paragould Southeastern Railroad, and I believe that was the P&SE, which really came through here. There was a St. Louis Southwestern Railroad. We have more railroads than we had roads. We're talking about the 1890s when roads were really scarce here. So, 2 maps are of particular interest concerning railroads, and let's show you what we found. You have here the profile map of that portion of the Missouri, Arkansas, and Louisiana Railroad. The date on this map is April the 20th, 1883, and next to it on the board is an 1889 profile map of the Dunklin County and Memphis Railroad. This is quite plain to see. Here's the St. Francis River. You see along the entire border of Dunklin County what's called East Swamp. You have Taylor Slough, which had the one bridge in the county across Taylor Slough, Clarkton, Malden, East Swamp, and you have Chillicothe Slough. We indeed were very wet. We haven't even begun to be able to show you many of these maps, but we hope you've enjoyed and looking at going with us to the vaults, looking at the old maps that were found there, and in the weeks to come, hopefully we can do some historic series on some of these maps.
You have been watching Time for Talk. Time for Talk is a community betterment service designed to cooperate with our local community betterment program. Each evening, Monday through Friday at this time, Rosemary interviews local personalities and others who bring items of interest to this community.